maybe you could tell me or us a bit about your master's degree, but also what made you decide to pursue a master's degree, and yeah, and I guess what are you doing with that now?
Yeah, definitely. So when I was in Boston, there's lots of universities, colleges, and I think one thing that I caught the bug for at Sam Houston State, and just the athlete mindset of continuous improvement and things like that, was I was always craving to keep moving forward and learning more and things like that. So I would go to these public events at Harvard and MIT where you could go and you could learn from great minds about various different topics. And at one of the events, I actually was speaking about something. It was about the intersection of athletics and education, which is I love that. And I got to talking with someone afterwards, and it happened to be someone who does admissions at the school. And so I thought, okay, and they encouraged me to look into applying and things like that. So then I wasn't really planning on going back to do my master's at that point, because I thought, there's so much for me to learn in the world of work still. And I think that's one side note, is whatever first job you get, it's important to think, what are you going to learn from it? Because your career is so long, and the first few years, it's so important. It's better that you're in a smaller company that you can learn more than a big company where you're only in one role. So whether it's a startup or just a smaller company, I learned so much in the 2 years I was there that I would never get an opportunity to at a bigger company. Anyway, so then I ended up cramming for the GRE and just submitting my application, but without expectations, because and then I was fortunate enough to get in and get some financial aid to go. And yes, it was to the Harvard Graduate School of Education. And I was in this program. There were 13 strands, and I was in a program, it was called Specialized Studies, and you essentially create your own degree, it was like amazing, because I got to choose what courses I wanted to take and what I wanted to focus on, because what I wanted to focus on was so niche. Yeah, and I did that. When I was there, I just maxed out. Yeah, so that was such a fantastic opportunity, and I think that really came about from just putting myself out there all the time, like going to these events, talking to people. So important to do. Just talking with people, telling people what you're interested in and what you want to achieve. Then people, that's really the reason why I then when I got that connection. And as another side note, I think one thing I've noticed in myself is what you learn in the 4 years is whatever it takes, like mentally, physically, like if that means staying up for like 30 hours or like training for like 8 hours and things like that. And you have to be really careful on how you apply that long term, because especially my first job, I exhausted myself. I was like, whatever it takes. I didn't know how to say, oh, can I have another week to complete it? And now, about 5 years on, I've realized how important it is to kind of modify that mentality. And during my master's, I was the same. I was like, okay, well, if I'm not working like 18 hours a day, I'm wasting my time. And but it's so important to long term obviously keep that mentality, because it's so valuable, but also make sure you're careful, like self-care and stuff. And the final part of your question, how I'm applying it now. So when I graduated, I was looking for positions, and again, I really believe in the internship opportunities, especially as an international student. And there was a role with Logitech, and it said education, technology, innovation intern, and I was like, "That's I'm here." So, because it was so niche, it was again, it's the niche aspect that it's like I think it got after the interview, I got a call back after 2 days saying that I was lucky enough to get it. And again, it goes back to what I was saying at the start, where when you diversify yourself and make yourself niche, um, yeah, it significantly helps. And I did that for 3 months and really try, was beast mode for 3 months. And then I was lucky enough to get the full-time offer because I think, and again, I communicated that I really wanted to stay. And it goes back to what I learned in my first year about the importance of communicating what you want and when you need help and things like that. So